Here is the digestion of food from the mouth.
Welcome to Smart Ugandan, the human digestive system. The human digestive system consists of the rectum, the large intestine, the small intestine, the pancreas, the liver. The liver also contains the gallbladder, the esophagus, also called the gullet, and very many glands as you come near the mouth. The process of digestion begins with the process of ingestion, where ingestion is the process of taking in of food into the mouth. Then mechanical digestion starts when teeth breaks this food particle into very small particles. Saliva is secreted containing salivary amylase. Salivary amylase breaks down the carbohydrates to maltose. Salivary amylase breaks down carbohydrates to very small particles which are soluble that are rolled into the bolus, then directed to the esophagus. Welcome to Smart Ugandan. Please subscribe and make sure you finish this video so that you can get all the content. Digestion is our main theme for today. Like this video if you have understood. Rewatch if you want to rewatch. Share so that your friends can get access to all what I have taught. Digestion is the process by which food is broken down to very small particles that are soluble and that are able to be absorbed by the body into the blood streams. Digestion takes place in the alimentary canal. The alimentary canal alimentary canal starts from the mouth, then to the esophagus, which is also called the gullet. Then from the esophagus to the stomach. Then from the stomach to the duodenum. Then from the duodenum to the jejunum. Then from the jejunum to the ileum. Then from the ileum to the colon. From the colon to the rectum. From the rectum to the anus. Then let us specialize or categorize these parts. From the duodenum to the ileum, that's what you call the small intestines. Then from the colon, that's what you call the large intestine. Now we are going to look at each of these parts of the alimentary canal in details. Let us start from the mouth. With this, you are going to be able to answer all questions in the past papers concerning digestion of food. Digestion of food is going to be understood from here. In the mouth, as food is being brought to the mouth, this stimulates the secretion of saliva. One content of the mouth is the saliva. Then in the saliva contains salivary amylase. This is salivary amylase. Then from salivary amylase, there is also water in the saliva. From water, there is also what you call mucus in the saliva. Then, what is the importance of salivary amylase? This is a catalyst. It works upon carbohydrates. Carbohydrates to to maltose. That is the function of the salivary amylase. Then the water is used for softening food. Then the mucus is used for lubricating food. So that is the content of saliva in the mouth. Then apart from saliva, there is also what you call the teeth. Part B content of the mouth, there is also what you call the teeth. The teeth are categorized into incisors, then another category of teeth, we have the canines, then we have the molars and premolars. Each of these types of teeth has a special function, and that special function is due to the adaptation of each type of teeth. So, the incisors are chisel-shaped. For cutting food. Then the canines are sharp and pointed. Then, if they are sharp and pointed, they are for what? For tearing flesh. Then the molars and premolars have what you call the ridges. The ridges are used for grinding and chewing food. That is the use of the premolars and molars. We have looked at the incisors. We have looked at the canines. And we have also looked at the molars and premolars. Then another content of the mouth, there is also the tongue. The tongue rolls food into bolus. Another function of the tongue is to push food to the esophagus. That is the function of the tongue that is in the mouth. And don't forget to complete this video so that you can understand each and everything. In the mouth, there is what you call mechanical and chemical digestion. There is mechanical and chemical. The chemical digestion in the mouth. This is the digestion that does not involve the use of enzymes. It takes place by the action of teeth. When the teeth do their work according to their adaptations, that is what you call mechanical digestion, where the insoluble big particles, they are broken down into small particles that can be absorbed by the body. Then chemical digestion in the mouth takes place when salivary amylase from saliva acts upon carbohydrates to maltose. So let us continue to digestion in the esophagus. Let us continue to digestion in the esophagus and receive peristalsis. The food moves into the gullet or the esophagus by peristalsis. Peristalsis is the wave-like motion of food particles through the gullet. In this case, in the gullet there is a lumen that constricts, allowing the passage of food to the stomach. The lumen of the esophagus or the gullet is made of different layers. These layers are many in number, as you can see, including the lamina macularis. The two outermost layers are responsible for peristalsis. That's why you can even swallow food when you're upside down, when you're standing on your head. That is the wave-like motion of food through the gullet. It is called peristalsis. This is the food particle moving through the gullet. Then you observe very well the food particles there being put into the stomach. The stomach has many layers, including the fundus and the cardia and the body. The stomach walls are longitudinal on the outermost layer. The second layer is cross-section or circular, then including the one which is having crossed layers. The stomach has the algae, as you can observe. I'm going to tell you the use of the algae. The stomach walls secrete gastric juice in the stomach. This is the production of gastric juice in the stomach. It is stimulated by the coming of food via the esophagus. It also secretes mucus to lubricate it. 1 or 2 liters of gastric juice are produced per day. When food is entering into the stomach, there is the cardiac sphincter muscle that allows entry of food into the stomach bit by bit. It closes in a short time so that food does not go back into the gullet, and so that the hydrochloric acid produced does not go back to the gullet. The gastric juice consists of hydrochloric acid, pepsinogen, and lipase. The hydrochloric acid in the gastric juice is used to kill bacteria that enters along with food in the stomach. This is how the bacteria attack this is how the bacteria is attacked by hydrochloric acid and it is being destroyed. The hydrochloric acid also activates pepsinogen to pepsin. The pepsin that is activated acts upon proteins to peptides, and later to amino acids. This is the chemical digestion in the stomach, where pepsin is acting upon proteins to amino acids. The hydrochloric acid also acidifies vitamin B12 that comes in food, that it can be easily absorbed in the small intestines. The vitamin B12 is responsible for formation of red blood cells and for somebody's DNA. These are the acids. They are going to be acted upon and split to free fatty acid. The gastric juice produced also contains gastric lipase. This gastric lipase acts upon the fatty acids to free fatty acids. 1 free fatty acid is produced. Then we go to mechanical digestion in the stomach. In the stomach, there is also what we call mechanical digestion of food. And this process makes what we call the chyme. The chyme is made by the constriction of the stomach walls. The food is then pushed. This is the appearance of the pyloric sphincter muscle. Food is allowed into the duodenum through the ampulla of Vater. This is the sparing. Food from the stomach enters bit by bit into the duodenum. Then we are going to talk about digestion in the stomach after seeing digestion in the mouth. When food is coming into the stomach, it enters through the cardiac sphincter muscle. This is the stomach. Then as food is entering, enter through the cardiac sphincter muscle. Then it goes out of the stomach through the pyloric sphincter muscle. Food enters through the cardiac and moves out through the pyloric. Then let us see digestion in the stomach. The cardiac sphincter muscle opens bit by bit, not allowing food particles to go back to the esophagus. Then, the coming of food into the stomach stimulates the secretion of gastric juice by the stomach walls, by the glands in the stomach walls. Then this is gastric juice. 1 or 2 liters of gastric juice are produced per day. 1 or 2 liters of gastric juice are produced per day. Gastric juice contains gastric paste. It also contains 0.5% of its content hydrochloric acid. It also contains pepsinogen. It also contains pre-renin. Contains these 4 substances. The gastric lipase. Let us look at gastric lipase. Gastric lipase. The gastric lipase is an enzyme that acts upon fats that comes along with food to free fatty acids. That are soluble to the body. Then the hydrochloric acid, what does it do? It neutralizes, it makes an pH in the stomach less than 7, so that these enzymes can be activated. They work best in acidic conditions, and that is why hydrochloric acid activates pepsinogen to pepsin. And this pepsin, what it does, it acts upon proteins to amino acids that are to be absorbed by the body. Then, another use of the hydrochloric acid, it also activates pre-renin to renin. What does renin do? It clothes protein content in milk in babies. It clothes proteins in milk as you are still a baby. Another use of the hydrochloric acid, it kills bacteria. That comes along with food. Then we have talked about the gastric juice in the stomach. And here is what we call the chemical digestion. In the stomach, there is chemical digestion, as we have seen, where the enzymes, here the lipase, pepsinogen, and pre-renin have acted upon food. Then there is also what you call mechanical or physical digestion in the stomach, where food is changed into chyme. The spelling of chyme is here. Chyme. The muscle constriction that you have seen in the stomach, there is chemical and mechanical digestion, as we have seen here. Food is then let out of the stomach through the pyloric sphincter muscle, as you have seen. Then, there's a food value that is absorbed in the stomach. That kind of food is alcohol. It's only alcohol that is absorbed in the stomach. Only alcohol that is absorbed in the stomach. Let us see digestion, the duodenum. The reaching of food in the stomach. We have seen it. Then let us see this coming in of food into the duodenum. The duodenum, pancreatic juice is secreted. The pancreatic juice contains sodium hydrogen carbonate that neutralizes the hydrochloric acid that comes along with food from the stomach. The hydrochloric acid is neutralized by hydrogen carbonate, such as sodium hydrogen carbonate, as you have observed. The pancreatic juice also contains what we can see as trypsinogen. It is activated in an alkaline condition and it works upon the proteins to amino acids. The pancreatic juice also contains pancreatic amylase. The pancreatic amylase is here also digesting carbohydrates to maltose, as you are observing. Therefore, also carbonates are acted upon in the duodenum. It also contains pancreatic lipase. The pancreatic lipase, it works upon the fats to free fatty acids and glycerol. Here, two fatty acids are produced. Bile from the liver is also produced, emulsifying these fats, and this process is here called emulsification. The fats have been emulsified. Let us see how the bile comes from the liver. The bile from the liver is secreted and then first stored into the gallbladder temporarily. The bile then comes into the duodenum through the ampulla of Vater. It mixes with the gastric juice. Then let us see digestion in the small intestines. See digestion in the duodenum. In the duodenum, the coming of food in the duodenum through the pyloric sphincter muscle. Here is the pyloric sphincter muscle and here is the duodenum. The coming in of food into the duodenum makes bile from the liver. This one is the liver to be secreted. Then this is the gallbladder. Then the duodenum is also connected to the pancreas, which is just below the stomach. This is the pancreas. The pancreas has a pancreatic duct. Has a pancreatic duct. And also the gallbladder has a bile duct. Then the bile duct and the pancreatic duct are connected through the ampulla of Vater, and then they allow in the fluids into the duodenum. This is the duodenum. Now let us see. The pancreas releases pancreatic juice into the duodenum, and also bile is released into the duodenum. Then let us see what takes place next. The pancreas secretes pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice. The pancreatic juice has three contents, mainly three, but also has others, as you can see. This is one of the others, is sodium hydrogen carbonate. It also contains pancreatic lipase, contains trypsin that acts upon proteins to polypeptides. These lipases act upon fats. Trypsin acts upon trypsin proteins. Then carbohydrates, they were digested in the mouth, but they are also acted upon in the duodenum by pancreatic amylase. Carbohydrates. Then the work of sodium hydrogen carbonate is to neutralize, is to neutral. The spelling is to neutral. Is to neutralize hydrochloric acid that comes along with the chyme from the stomach. Then let us see. It is the pancreatic juice containing pancreatic lipase, pancreatic trypsin, and pancreatic amylase, and sodium hydrogen carbonate. Then the pancreatic lipase acts upon fats to free fatty acids and glycerol. The trypsin acts upon proteins to amino acids. Then pancreatic amylase acts upon carbohydrates to maltose, which is a soluble sugar. Let me write it boldly. Maltose is a soluble sugar. Then let us see digestion in the small intestines. The small intestines consist of the jejunum, duodenum, and ileum. We have seen digestion in the duodenum. Then let us see digestion in the jejunum. The jejunum has very many villi. The villi are responsible for absorption of food particles. This is where absorption of food is next, because there was digestion of alcohol in the stomach, and if there's no alcohol content, digestion starts from the small intestines, which contain villi. The villi are 1 millimeter long, and this is the structure of the villi. The villi have very many blood capillaries in which soluble food particles are absorbed, as you can see. Absorption takes place in the small intestines, in the place called the jejunum. The carbohydrates that formed glucose are digested. Then the glucose and maltose are transported freely into the jejunum. Then iron is transported by transferrin during the absorption. Then another content are the fatty acids and glycerol, which are transported by chymoclone. These are the fatty acids and glycerol that are transported in the jejunum. This is the structure of the villi in the jejunum, the part of the alimentary canal which are the small intestines. There are millions and millions of villi attached in the inner walls of the jejunum. This increases the surface area for absorption of food. They are attached in the inner walls. Let us see another part of the small intestine, which is the ileum. The ileum also has the villi, like the jejunum. It is circular in shape, increasing surface area for absorption of food. It absorbs electrolytes such as calcium. It also absorbs zinc, which is also an electrolyte. The zinc and other electrolytes are absorbed through the ileum. Vitamin B12 that was also acidified by hydrochloric acid in the stomach is also absorbed here. The bile acid that emulsified is also absorbed. Peristalsis also takes place where the food particles are mixed. The food particles here are mixed through a process called cementation. Here is the mixing of food. It is in red and yellow so that you can observe very well. Then from the small intestines, let us see digestion in the large intestines. The large intestines are 1 meter long. The large intestines are surrounding the small intestines. The large intestines have a Bowel-Hines valve. The Bowel-Hines valve connects the small intestines to the large intestines. There are no villi in the large intestines. Instead, the large intestines contain 100 billion bacteria. These bacteria are responsible for breaking down and decomposition of roughagaes such as cabbage, and they are also used in the production of vitamins such as vitamin B12 that determines the BNA. Food moves from the ascending colon by peristalsis in the large intestines to the transverse colon, and this is where absorption of water takes place. This is the descending colon then to the rectum, where undigested food particles are excreted. This peristalsis still continues up to the rectum, where food is then moved out of the body. Let us explain this a bit. Then we are going to see digestion in the small intestines. In the small intestines. First of all, we have seen digestion in the duodenum. Then we are going to see digestion in the jejunum. Then lastly, digestion in the ileum. We have seen the duodenum digestion. Then let us see the jejunum. The jejunum has many villi. The jejunum is highly coiled to increase surface area for absorption of food. This is where digestion of food takes place. This is the structure of the villi. The villi is 1 millimeter long. 1 millimeter long. The villi has an outer layer called the epithelium. This epithelium is the outer part of the villi. It consists of the epithelial cells, which I'm drawing. Inside the villi, there is also what you call the lactale. This is the lactale. Between the lactale and the epithelium, there is also what we call the blood capillaries. These are the blood capillaries between the epithelium and the lactale. Blood capillaries. Then at the winding up of the lactate, there is the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system. Then the epithelium is responsible for absorption of amino acids. Amino acids in the jejunum. Then the lactate is responsible for absorption of fatty acids. The fatty acids and glycerol. Then the blood capillaries for absorption of glucose, a final product of carbohydrates. Then this is mainly the structure of the villi. So the blood capillaries combine to form small veins, very small veins. Then these small veins also combine to form a meaningful vein. And this vein also combines here to form a very big vein. And this vein is called the hepatic portal vein. This large vein is called the hepatic portal vein. And this hepatic portal vein, this hepatic portal vein is connected to the liver, which transports all the food particles that have been absorbed by the villi. So, from there in the jejunum, we are going to look at the ileum. The ileum also has very many villi. The villi in the ileum are responsible for absorption of electrolytes. These electrolytes include calcium, zinc, and also vitamins like vitamin B12, vitamin B12. This vitamin B12 is responsible for formation of somebody's DNA. It's also responsible for formation of red blood cells. That's the function of the vitamin B12 that are absorbed in the ileum. Remember, there's a condition for this vitamin B12 to be absorbed in the ileum. It was first acidified by hydrochloric acid that was produced from the gastric juice in the stomach. Then let us see digestion in the large intestines. In the large intestines, there are some parts that make up the large intestines. The large intestines contain what we call the colon and the rectum and the anus. The colon has what we call the ascending colon, and the descending colon. Then, food moves from the ascending colon to the descending colon through a process called peristalsis. During peristalsis, which is the wave-like motion of food, there is absorption of water that moves along that, and there